video because this should be a pretty self-explanatory assignment. But what you're doing today is you're reading this review of a book that is about a real-life incident called, people refer to it as the Donner Party. A little history on the Donner Party. So in kind of pioneering times, the mid-1800s, there was a big push in America for westward expansion because the country, as we know, when colonists first came, they came along the East Coast, and people largely lived there and had expanded out somewhat, but had not especially gone as far as California. And so people thought of it as this new frontier, and there was all this land, and the economy could be pretty difficult if you lived out east, and people thought that they could make a new life, a new future for themselves if they went out west. And there was this big push, not only for individuals to do that, but for the country to do that as well. People thought this will be good for the country. And there were rumors of gold. There was an idea that if you were able to make it out there, you would be given a large tract of land to live on and to work and to make your fortune. So this large group of people under the leadership of a man by the last name of Donner gathered in these covered wagons and made their way across the country. And in their case, things went terribly, terribly wrong. So you will read through this and take a quick little quiz on the Donner Party. And when you are done with that quiz, what you are going to do is you are going to write your own short story. So you're going to write like a very short story, like page and a half, double spaced. And you are going to base it on the events of the Donner Party. So your character should have experienced those events in some way. You could have it take place during the tragedies that occur with the Donner Party. You could have it take place afterwards. You can be as creative as you would like to be. If you read through the instructions on the actual writing section, it will give you lots of ideas about like the wide range of possibilities, but feel free to be as creative as you would like to. I would like it to be set during that time period. That's what I will say. I don't want it to just be based on the Donner Party, but it's set in modern times. I would really prefer that it be set during that time and people having experienced that specific event. But as long as your character has experienced that in some regard, that's really what I care about, and that your story is them reflecting on those events in some way or experiencing them. Before you actually write your story, I want you to think a little bit about how you want your story to look. So I want you to think about like, what point of view will it be in? Remember, first is I, the character refers to themselves as I, and they are narrating the story. Second person is you. That one's very untraditional, but you could do it. You are in the horse-covered wagon, and suddenly you notice a wolf on the horizon or something like that. And then the most traditional one is third person, referring to the characters as he or she, where like the narrator is not a character, right? Then you want to consider their point of view on the thing that happens, spoiler. You want to consider their backstory. So where are they from? How did they wind up on this expedition? What happened to them on this expedition? A lot of this backstory is going to wind up working into your plot. Then your setting. Where do you want your story set? What kind of language and imagery are you going to use to give the character a real sense of where you are? Tone and mood. We've talked about tone and mood several times. Pay attention to these boxes. And finally, a thing that I would suggest is that you really break it into scenes, I would try to have multiple scenes in my story, because when you just say, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, it's hard to build a sense of tension or a sense of surprise or excitement. When you read really good writing, suddenly, you might shift from a flashback that's set in Illinois to a flash forward in California to a moment in the mountains, and you want to describe like what that moment looks like and where the character is in that moment. Make it literary, make it interesting, make it reflect the kind of writing that you've enjoyed in the past. All right, I'm excited to see what y'all come up with. We love a creative day. Some of us do anyway. I do. And I'm excited to see what you come up with. So good luck. Bye, guys.